Rhiannon, we know that at Pima Medical Institute in your program, we talk about washing your hands and you guys teach it. This is so important, not just in the field of surgical, but what we're going to be doing every day.
Right. It definitely is. Hand washing helps to stop the spread of disease, so it's very important.
So, and what's very interesting is how we wash our hands. And if we start washing them like a surgeon, we're going to be pretty much on the path of making sure we're not spraying disease.
That's true. That's true. When we wash our hands, we want to make sure that of a couple things. One, that we don't come into close contact with the sink or the faucet. We just want to avoid those high contact areas. And so then when we start washing, if the faucet isn't hands-free, we want to make sure that we use a towel or something to turn on the faucet and adjust the water. It should have a good flow, but you don't want it to splash on your clothes because splashing could be a pathway for germs. So then the next step would be to wet the hands and apply the soap. And when we apply the soap, we want to make sure that we apply it to all the surfaces of our hands. If we're not purposeful when we wash our hands, there's a lot of areas that can be missed, typically between the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the nails. So we just want to make sure that we're using friction, and we work from the wrist to the fingertips. And then when we rinse, we want to make sure that we rinse really well, because if we don't, residual soap can stay on our skin and that can irritate our skin, especially if we're doing this on, more frequently than we typically would. So then when we're drying, we want to make sure that we dry our hands really well. Again, that goes back to if we leave our hands a little bit wet, germs like to stick to that wetness. And then turning off the handle, if there is a handle on the faucet, would be just to use a clean paper towel to turn that off.
And I know that a lot of people think that they have washed their hands, they did everything, but then they go and maybe pull the door open. And again, it's like you pretty much wasted washing your hands. What's some other things we should watch out that we do wrong that we should start doing right when it comes to washing our hands?
There's a couple things. One thing is just making sure that we're washing long enough. The CDC recommends 15 to 30 seconds. If your hands are more dirty or more soiled, or you can see that they're dirty, you want to wash them closer to that 30-second mark. Also, if you've been touching high contact surfaces, you want to make sure you wash for that full 30 seconds. Something else is just avoiding using soap. We want to make sure that we use soap when we wash our hands, and then we want to make sure that we dry thoroughly afterwards.
Is there a particular type of soaps we should be using?
Oh, that's a great question. There have been some studies on the effectiveness of antimicrobial soap versus non-antimicrobial soap, and they've really been inconclusive. What's really important is just to make sure you use soap. However, there has been some evidence that using bar soap or using soap from a refillable dispenser can harbor more germs. So it's better if we use something from a sealed dispenser and then just discard it when it's gone.
So let me ask you about putting lotion on after we have washed our hands. What should we do about that? Because I know, washing hands can dry out our hands.
It does. It does. I know that using lotion can also increase the chance that microorganisms can stick to our hands. So it's probably best if we use it sparingly.
So, perfect. All right. We know that there is a song for CPR. It's Staying Alive. What's the song for washing our hands?
I think a good song would be, if you're happy and you know it, wash your hands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.